Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I'm your host, Joe Zolo. Super Bowl's done. Season's officially done. We now have a good 6 months until NFL action once more. So now we have about a month until free agency. So, of course, we now break down each and every of the crucial fantasy positions, starting with the one and only quarterback position. Joining us today, longtime friend Lind Ellians is joining the show. And reminder, if you haven't heard it already, because you're brand new to the show for some reason, first off, welcome. Second off, you can use the code CLUBFANTASY at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping on your order. Josh, Ryan, myself can all attest. Fantastic products they've sent us. Basically their entire line, and not a single bad thing to say about them. Highly recommend. Use that Christmas money. Hey, maybe your significant other got you some Valentine's money, right? Maybe they slipped you a nice little gift card. Go use that, manscaped.com. Use the code CLUBFANTASY for 20% off and free shipping. But let's get into it. Happy depressing Wednesday, everybody. And I say that because Linda's a Broncos fan, Josh is an Eagles fan, Ryan could care less, and I hate that the Chiefs won. So I guess for 75% of the stream, this is a shitty Wednesday.
One of us was rooting for the Chiefs, so it worked out really well for me.
Linda's on day 3 of a hangover.
Fuck you, Ryan.
So it's a tough Wednesday for the crew. How is everybody doing besides the fact that the Eagles lost the Super Bowl?
I was actually sick all weekend, so just being, upright and being able to talk, I'm pretty happy that the show came around, and I'm ready for the show. I'm excited.
Lovely.
I vented on Monday.
You would stop saying that the Eagles lost, because you said it like 4 times in that opening minute. And I think we can
let's say the Chiefs won.
Past. It's in the past. No, you don't need to say that. We're looking forward, Joe. We're looking forward.
Hey, we are.
The Eagles are going to lose.
But it is it is something that, does sadly need to be brought up. It was a fantastic game, great game to watch, and it was sickening that it had to come down to that play, because they robbed us of what could have been probably the best finish of all time. In theory, if you were to think about it like that. Again, no guarantees on either side, and that's not the play that ultimately decides the game, because everyone's talked about it. When your vaunted defense gets 0 sacks and 0 turnovers and virtually no quarterback pressures, that's what lost you the game. So for all saying it came down to the refs, no, it didn't. They robbed you of a really good ending. I'll give you that. But absolutely.
Can I just say something?
Go ahead.
Can I just say something about blaming the refs? If I can, I'm going to. It doesn't matter. I understand. But as a human, I am never place blame on the thing that I love. It is not our fault.
You know what? Don't blame the refs.
I think we should be more honest with ourselves. People are like, oh, like I would never. Yes, you would. You have. I know you have. Whether you want to believe it or not, everybody does it. Just let it happen. Feels good.
I think we need to blame the script. I think is what we need
to
do. Right?
Jesus.
Let's don't blame the rest. Blame the script. Right?
I am in the habit of unfollowing every single person who talks about the script, so I guess I'm no longer following Joe. And
I love the script talks. It is so funny.
I just love that all the players have leaned into this.
Yes,
it's hilarious.
That is my favorite part.
So much more entertaining for me.
It's
the
hilarious.
Players is fine. It's the people that legitimately think that there's some kind of conspiracy behind who wins. That it's like, Joe, Jesus Christ. We can't get into conspiracy theories. It'll get weird fast.
Yeah.
I love conspiracy theories. Yeah, no, we will not get into that. But speaking of the Eagles, they lose offensive coordinator Shane Steichen, who the Colts hired as their head coach. That one definitely takes a toll.
That hurts.
And the Cardinals with just another home run hire at the head coaching position. You say Cliff Kingsbury, the guy that could barely pull together a 500 win record with Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback in college. We're going to hire him. We're going to fire him now about 3 years late. And then you know what they do? They say, Jonathan Gannon, you know what you did? You put together the best defensive game plan anyone's ever seen in Super Bowl history. We want you as our head coach. Jonathan Gannon, ladies and gentlemen, the former defensive coordinator of the Eagles, now head coach of the Arizona Cardinals.
Here's the thing. I don't think he'll be a bad head coach,
He
but
won't be
they're
good.
going to need him. They're going to need to give him time because this roster is not built for him at all.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I think that he doesn't make it to the end of year 3.
Did you see the cool post from 33rd Team that every head coach hiring has ties to the Philadelphia organization?
Yeah.
That was fun. So
yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not going to miss Jonathan Gannon, but I will miss Shane Steichen.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've been just going at him for weeks now, even before the Super Bowl. And
no, I've been going at him for 2 years.
That's fair. Yeah.
Jonathan Gannon, ladies and gentlemen. The Cardinals, once again, congratulations, fans. You will now miss the playoffs for another 3 to 4 consecutive seasons.
But hey, there's hope I won't be overly bought into the Cardinals this year. So I'm happy about how this all. I think so. I think I'm down on them.
All right.
I'm
Well,
curious to see who they hire as their offensive coordinator.
It's gonna. Yeah, I was wondering who they could
Cliff
hire
Kingsbury.
to pull me back in.
I mean, why not double down? I mean, he wasn't a good head coach. Why not double down in the OC position?
Cliff Kingsbury ran away with a fuckload of money, and I don't blame him. Good for you. Got your bag and left town, bro.
Left the country.
Country.
Wait, did he really leave the country?
Yeah, wasn't he the one who took off to Thailand?
Yes.
As soon as he was fired.
I love
a
that.
one-way ticket, bro.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm done with this shit. It's not fun.
I'm done with America.
I love that. No, he didn't even say I'm done with the NFL. He just said
done with America.
Yeah.
Bro.
Fuck the red, white, and blue. I'm out, dude. Dang. Okay. All right. Offseason preview. Quarterbacks. Frankly, a lot of teams that actually I should say this. A lot of teams that do need a quarterback, but there's also some teams that could potentially very much need a quarterback if situations don't pan out. But, for example, Ravens, Giants, Seahawks. It's looking like Lamar will most likely re-sign with the Ravens at this point. I mean, I don't think you go and get the dude from Georgia who's just won 2 back-to-back national championships and he doesn't re-sign, but I'm not too sure on that. I think Daniel Jones most likely stays with the Giants. I mean, you ask for improvement. I don't know how much more improvement you could get from the guy.
Maybe more than 15 touchdown passes. I'm just saying.
Hey, potentially, but he beat the Vikings. So when you think about it,
because that's so hard to do.
Hey,
they were pretty good this year.
11-1 in 1-score games. Don't ask me where the 1 loss came. But, 11-1 in 1-score games. Don't ask me where the 1 loss came. All right. And then Seahawks, you'd have to imagine they probably re-sign Geno Smith. Pete Carroll doesn't seem like he wants to get rid of him anytime soon. So, again, you're assuming those 3 teams pretty much.
I want to pose a question really quick because I think it's really interesting when you look at basically where these 2 careers were before 2022. If you were a team and you had a choice of signing Geno Smith or Daniel Jones, who would you pay the money to go sign? Because that's going to be a $35 million plus contract a year.
Daniel Jones. The player that did it without DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and Pete Carroll and a first-year head coach, that guy is the guy I'm more comfortable getting money to.
Geno's 32 years old. There's the age factor. Yeah. Geno's 32 versus a 25-year-old Daniel Jones. I feel like it has to be Jones.
I'll draft Stetson Bennett.
I'll just go get
it. It'll be a 6th-round pick. Stop.
Go draft another 25-year-old.
Free.
Yeah, right?
So free is what I'm hearing. No, I think between the 2, you got to go Daniel Jones, especially based off age at that point. There's way more room for improvement as well. I think you go Daniel Jones in that instance. Teams that 100% definitely do and should draft, or if not, go get a quarterback. The Texans, they currently have the number 2 pick, and Davis Mills is not it. The Bucks, Tom Brady. I think the retirement is officially official at this point. Yeah. He's basically turned his Instagram into an OnlyFans. So
I say he's just thirst traps now.
They definitely needs the extra money. The Panthers, Baker Mayfield was released. Sam Darnold's a free agent. The Raiders, Derek Carr sadly does not have $40 million as a bonus.
I think he's
check.
okay with it though.
I think I would agree he's okay with it, but he was released on Tuesday. But it's okay. Aaron Rodgers will sign with the Raiders. Saints, Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, both free agents. The Colts, Matt Ryan is probably not going to be throwing passes in a Colts uniform or any NFL uniform.
In a Colts uniform this year.
Yeah, that's a great point, Linda.
Yeah, I mean, he
for the second straight year, Matt Ryan will not be throwing passes for the Indianapolis Colts.
Right. So Will chimes in. My, of course, high school buddy Will, played volleyball with him. Joe would be the worst NFL referee. How much worse can it get is the question I would like to rebuttal. Okay, how much worse can it get? All right, that back judge was doing his best impression of the NBA on that James Bradbury hold. Which shout out Bradbury for saying he held him. Did you though?
He did. There's clear evidence, video that he did.
Yeah. Okay.
My favorite part was where Bradbury just flat out was like, "They let us get away with it before. I thought they'd let us get away with it."
And that was my biggest issue with that call.
Game
bitchy,
because it was like in the first quarter, I think there was a way more blatant hold that they just let go, and I'm like, okay, if they're gonna let these guys play, then let them play.
Yeah,
I wasn't even close to a hold. Sorry, wasn't even close. Will also says, and this is very interesting because the Bears have the number 1 overall pick and they technically don't need a quarterback. Technically. Is there any way that anyone here thinks that the Bears trade Justin Fields and draft Bryson?
Bryce Young, not
Bryce Young. Yeah, I was like Bryson.
I was wondering too.
Right. Bryce Young.
Obviously, of the 4 of us, I know the least about college football, but my general takeaway from the small toe I've dipped in so far is that neither of these 2 quarterbacks are like game changers, like not Trevor Lawrence level quarterbacks. So I just don't think that's the move. Like you could just be drafting the next Justin Fields. Like I just don't get it. So
right.
Linda.
I would say that's exactly how I feel. Is you have Justin Fields, or you could have like you don't know what's in the box, but it could even be Justin Fields.
It could be Justin Fields. I love that. Yes, absolutely.
Schrodinger's cat. That's what it is.
Yeah. Just ride with Justin Fields. And I think they will. I think it's funny that the most talked about, I think probably Justin Fields is the player that's getting talked about most at like the trade quarterback trades right now. And I think it's the least likely to happen. But people like to shout out insane trades and go like, and NFL GM should do this.
And my eyes rolled immediately when I heard it because people were saying it immediately. And I'm just like, the kid played his ass off. Obviously, there's plenty of growth, but he played his ass off. Like, to me, it's not anything I would have ever considered. So,
again, I think the report that came out today was Jason LaConfora, I believe his name is, that said that down at the Senior Bowl, like what he was kind of hearing from GMs is that instead of trading the 101, the Bears would be more likely to actually trade Justin Fields. Now, I feel like I've made this argument before, like, and you guys touched on it. Fields would be the 101 in this draft.
Yeah. Gemmo literally is. I say our buddy Gemmo literally just said
100% he would be. Yeah. But here's the difference. You're a team that obviously is struggling, and that's why they have the number 1 pick this year. If you trade Fields to go with another quarterback, the literal only reason to do that is to reset the rookie clock.
Reset the contract, yeah.
That's it. That is hands down the only legitimate reason to do that, because I don't see how you take a look at any of these quarterbacks in this draft and say that any of them have the type of ceiling that Justin Fields has. The difference is that by the end of this year, 2023, you have to start planning for an extension for Fields if you believe he is your guy.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But it's also restarting, teaching somebody your entire offense. And
Facts.
Like, I just think it's a negative EV move or whatever it is that better say.
Oh, I love it. Like I said, I agree wholeheartedly with Linda here. Like, I don't get it. the kid either got close or just broke the rushing record for quarterbacks. Like, you have this opportunity to have this offense that nobody else in the league, sans the Baltimore Ravens, really have. So, like, go out there and have fun with it. And for God's sake, get him a weapon, or Darnell Mooney, step the fuck up. Like, do something. Don't trade the 32nd overall pick in the draft for fucking Chase Claypool is step one, I guess. But
give me an offensive line, baby. An offensive line.
Yes. Yep. They definitely need that. And his big room for improvement obviously is passing the football. Like, that's not even he's got everything else down. And I think we were saying this going into last year is they just need to run a high school level offense.
Yeah.
And they may or may not be a productive offense. And the May definitely hit when they decided they should literally just run quarterback zone read runs. And
I
then
can't remember
Justin
who
Fields goes off. Like, it just
I can't
makes
remember who it
sense.
was against. It was towards the end of the season. It was that touchdown of his that got called back where he had stepped like a toe out of bounds. It was one of the most insane QB runs I had ever seen. And I don't think
that was
there's
against Philly, actually.
It might have been. And I don't think there's another player in the NFL that could have done what he did on that play. And when you have a player that does something that nobody else could do, you hold on to that. You don't be like, oh, let's start the clock over. Like, it's such a bad call.
The biggest issue, and I understand why it's being brought up. There's like 2 to 3 passes a game where you look at him and say, damn, this kid can throw. But like the other 70% of passes,
he only throws it 5 times a game. I'm taking 2 or 3.
Well, no, you're right. So two or 3 passes, and then the other 60%, the 3.
Yeah, I'm not good at percentages. That's my bad.
They're just the other ones, like the other ones where there was a throw later in the season where, again, he at that point he was 2 for 4, and it was like the third quarter. But like he missed, like he overthrew a wide open fullback in the flat, like it was 10 feet above his head.
And there's vision problems too. There was a play, because I was ready to get fucking ate up on Twitter. There was a play where Cole Kmet was butt naked on the 5-yard line. I'm like, oh great, another fucking Cole Kmet touchdown. Fields didn't even see him. I was like, oh God, man. I'm like, you got to do better.
I love how we're talking quarterbacks and we still find a way to bring up Cole Kmet in this show.
Yeah, but he brought
and I don't mean anything negative about it. It should have been another thorn in my side of Cole Kmet, and Justin Fields fucking blew it, man.
I probably wouldn't have said anything to you. I kept my mouth relatively closed.
It was funny when I told Ryan that I was going to bring you on for the quarterback show. He's like, oh, thank God it's not the tight ends.
Literally.
I've said it 100 times.
You were like, do you want to argue about tight ends for an hour? I would have been like, absolutely fucking not.
That's my favorite show every year.
Argue about the two tight ends, potentially.
I'm just going to draft Jelani Woods. Fuck it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Jimmo says they need to sign T. Higgins or D Hop or both and protect him from being sacked 789 times. Sorry, Chemo. If the Patriots don't sign T. Higgins, D Hop, or both, then I will riot. So if we are linked in every way to DeAndre Hopkins, if we don't fucking sign him, God, and if we sign T. Higgins, I may drop dead, because
I just need to throw out there, T. Higgins not a free agent. So
yeah,
I was gonna say,
technically neither is DeAndre Hopkins. So
I was like, there's like no way T. Higgins is a free agent. If he was,
he's about to hit the last year, and they're gonna have to make a decision on him. So,
all right, we'll get to that during receivers. Teams in limbo. 49ers. This is so interesting just to see who they're gonna go with, and I just want to go around the horn real quickly just to get everyone's thoughts. Linda, Purdy, Jimmy G, or Trey Lance, who do they go with?
Brock Purdy.
Okay.
If he's healthy, I think they go with Brock Purdy.
All right, Ryan.
Can't lose your locker room. I think it should be Trey Lance. I think it's going to be Brock Purdy. So,
Josh.
I think Lance is going to be the only one that's healthy by the start of the season. So
that's a really good point.
I think it's Lance by default.
You know what's great in this whole conversation? No one said Jimmy Garoppolo, so we're all on the same page there.
Yeah, he's not going back to San Francisco.
He not going anywhere. So Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, he'll have a job next year.
I beg to differ.
As a backup.
No, he'll be starting next year for some team.
Yeah, as a backup to Aaron Rodgers in Las Vegas with Josh McDaniels. That's exactly where he'll be.
No, he'll be starting somewhere next year.
Okay, well then Las Vegas when the
they
Jets,
don't get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, when they don't get Aaron Rodgers because he goes to the Jets to sign with Nathaniel Hackett. Obviously, this is what's going to happen. So I think it's Purdy. I think you can trade Trey Lance for some decent assets, but if Trey Lance and Brock Purdy are both healthy on your team, that is a dagger move to not start the 3rd overall pick over Mr. Irrelevant. That's tough. That's really hard.
You know what else is tough? Is not playing football for 3 years, dude. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to I hope Trey Lance is successful. It has nothing to do with the kid. His rookie season, I said I thought he had the highest ceiling of all of those guys that came in with him, and that was a good class. But not playing as much as he has not played is a massive concern personally. And not playing at a level of a school that is already not a great college level.
In terms of real football play, not including preseason, anything like that, he's had a game and a quarter in the last 3 years. So he's played 75 minutes of football roughly. It's a great point.
I also think the 49ers got bullied into taking him and wanted Mac Jones. So personally, I believe that rumor with my whole heart and soul.
Trey Lance,
I'll do a straight up trade.
Is Trey Lance the only person in the world who won COVID? He just played the system and
what a weird way to look at that, but okay.
I think it's the best way to look at it.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Wow.
The Packers, Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love. We already talked about it. Aaron Rodgers is either a Raider or a Jet because obviously Nathaniel Hackett. You know, be a big middle finger is if he actually goes to the Broncos as a giant middle finger to Nathaniel Hackett. Which
how can the Broncos realistically get out of that Russell Wilson contract?
So they hire a hitman.
Yeah.
Stop.
That's it. I mean, that's the answer.
That's probably the only answer.
They tell him actually to go ski in Aspen, and they stop the lift from actually going,
and just leave him there.
He's stuck in the cold.
Yeah.
My favorite thing from last year, Linda. I don't know if you were on a show with this, but I don't know if you know if there was a TikTok account that was keeping track of Russell Wilson's number of passing touchdowns compared to bathrooms in his house. And
fantastic.
For 16 weeks, he had more bathrooms in his house than he had passing touchdowns. Not until week 17 did he pass that. It was amazing.
You know what's gross is the last 2 off seasons, first thinking that we were going to trade for Aaron Rodgers. And it was like, oh, fuck yeah, we're into shits. I was like, we're going to win the Super Bowl. And then that didn't happen. And then we brought in Russell Wilson. And again, last offseason, I was like, Super Bowl bound. No, what the fuck? I can't. But then we hired Sean Payton, and I'm already right back in the shits.
There you go. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
I wrote it on the beer pong table. So it's profit.
It's there. If it's on the beer pong table, it has to come true.
I say it's done. That's where the script comes from.
It's literally written in
stone. The beer pong table.
Linda's beer pong table is the script. That's all it says. Broncos in Super Bowl. That's it. So Packers, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. Aaron Rodgers is the most mysterious man on planet Earth, so we'll see. Rams, is Stafford healthy? No. He should just probably retire at this point, in all honesty, for his own personal health. Yeah, too many injuries. The Falcons, do they stick with Desmond Ridder or do they go a different direction potentially in this draft? Cardinals, reports now say Kyler Murray may not return until mid-season after the ACL tear, so who may cover for him? Commanders, Wentz is probably gone. Sam Howell looked pretty good in the final game, so potentially riding Sam Howell. Dolphins, Tua the answer, question mark. I'm reading what's in the show sheet. I don't think they're going to move on from Tua, but
I put it there because there's a lot of rumblings. People think that if Stephen Ross can find a way to move on, he will, which I think is dumb, but whatever.
I mean, I would like them to keep Tua and keep him in the division. But if he leaves the division, then maybe Miami gets better. I don't want that. So I would like to keep Tua in the division. So wrong one. The Jets, Zach Wilson. We don't know. You don't know. You don't know. Look. I do believe this, and I've said Now, this is a lot to ask for out of Zach Wilson and his coaching staff. If he actually has good footwork, I believe that solves a lot of his actual like talent issues. Like he's overthrowing players, he's underthrowing players. It's because he's trying to throw it like he's Patrick Mahomes and throwing it like 10 toes and not stepping into it. And he's dropping his arm. If his mechanics and footwork become better, I think that helps a lot of his problems. The biggest problem is throwing the football to the other team, which is all decision-making and all field vision, which is much harder to fix. I think you can fix the mechanics, and once he fixes the mechanics, he becomes a lot better. But if you can't get past the field vision, that's a whole different story.
20 turnovers in 22 games.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. But if Daniel Jones can average... What?
I want Zach Wilson to work so bad because...
I think he can.
Yeah.
His field vision's just terrible. And
teams don't give young quarterbacks time.
Yeah, he's not. I just don't think he's going to have the time. Right.
Especially in New York.
Yeah.
In a media frenzy that is already eating you apart.
Zach Wilson told me everything I needed to know about him when he was terrified of being on stage with those black guys at the awards ceremony. I was like, racist. Oh, it is, but Zach Wilson ain't it.
That man only grew up around Mormons.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it ain't it. He does not belong in the NFL. He's trash.
Dang. Trash Wilson.
I just want the MILF hunter to work out. What a story.
And he can go hunt all the MILFs he wants back in Utah.
I was going to say the MILFs call him 10 toes when Joe said he throws 10 toes, but
hey,
maybe no orgasm jokes.
That's okay. We're here for it. My dad's fantasy football team name this year was Zach's MILF Hunters. So
perfect.
He's 52. We'll be 53 in a few days. So, staying young, laughs at every 69 joke there is, loves the Burger King commercials. So we're chilling, 53, acting like a 4-year-old. What's new? Potential trade candidates, Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be a Raider. So that's not even, I don't know why this is even on the show sheet. He's a Raider. Potential cut candidates, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, and Marcus Mariota. Carson Wentz will be cut. It's not even a potential cut candidate. It's
potential because he hasn't yet been cut. So there you go.
Yeah, but he will be cut, is what I'm telling you.
Has not happened yet.
It's written on Linda's beer pong table. So
do any of these, Josh? Do any of them have contracts that require waiting until June 1st or no?
No, I think Wentz, because of the trades, he doesn't really have any dead cap.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let me,
yeah.
Well, and Ryan was traded too, right? So yeah, it's probably all straight.
Okay. Free agents. Long list of them. Now, many of them, it doesn't fucking matter. They'll be backups, but there is a long list of them. Ironically, all of them I'd choose to start over Cam Newton. So this is a fantastic. This looks just like the list I made.
And really quick, cutting Wentz, no dead money, saves him $26 million.
There you go.
I mean, it's an easy decision.
I would kill to save $26 million.
Yeah. Well, you just have to kill Carson Wentz.
If I do it, you give me the money. Exactly. You guys take from the contract.
It's like Linda. She's like, I'll take half. I don't even give me the. I don't even need the full 26.
$500,000.
Yeah. What? I'll take 4%.
It doesn't. $1 million is an unreal number to me. I am more likely to own a unicorn someday. Like it's just. It's an imaginary number. They're like, they're getting $254 million. And you're like, what? That's insane.
Why not just give them a money machine?
One of those that blows around, go in it before they leave their house.
All right. Here we go. Free agents. Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, Geno Smith, Daniel Jones. 3 of them we assume will be back with the same team they played for in 2022.
One will not be.
One will definitely not be, actually. That's confirmed. Derek Carr, probably the hottest name on this list. Jimmy Garoppolo, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Jacoby Brissett, who, if we're talking about transition quarterbacks potentially, I think Arizona's a good candidate for him if Kyler Murray's not going to be there for half the season. I think Jacoby Brissett is a more than serviceable backup quarterback in the NFL who can carry over your team and is a really good backup to come in certain situations. Andy Dalton, Teddy Bridgewater, the most average quarterback ever in NFL history. And in every metric whatsoever, he is literally just dead center of the chart. Joe Flacco, I don't think I might just retire at this. I got to hang him up. Mason Rudolph. Mike White is a very interesting name because we've seen Mike White play very well in relief of Zach Wilson. Taylor Heineke, also another very interesting name.
Those are I have for potential Cardinals.
That's fair. Yeah, I think those are two very good candidates. Blaine Gabbert. Yep. Chase Daniel, Drew Lock, Cooper Rush, I think is another very interesting candidate here as well, lower on the list, but you can't really argue with his record filling in for Dak Prescott. Cowboys wouldn't have been the seed they were without Cooper Rush, so definitely an interesting guy to keep an eye on. Tyler Huntley, restricted free agent, so Baltimore has the chance to match anything. Odds are he will probably continue to be the backup to Lamar. It just seems to be like the perfect backup to him.
I would say if you knew Kyler Murray was missing extended time, Tyler Huntley would be my pick, just because you can run your same offense. So.
Yeah. Jarrett Stidham. One game he filled in, looked great. So, line him up. Gardner Minshew, Mr. Mustache Man, the god who deserves a full-time starting job in the NFL. Jeff Driscoll. And I know
think Linda knows I put him on the list simply because I knew she was going to be on this show.
Oh, I thought you put it on for me as well.
The last name is for you.
No, the last name is for you, Joe.
Oh, Jeff Driscoll. Oh, you put Driscoll for Linda.
Driscoll for Linda.
I thought you put Nathan Peterman.
Fat ass, Joe.
Right.
Oh, good old Jeffy D. Good old Hefe. Nathan Peterman is the name that is on the list for me. Who saw playing time last year. So the fact this motherfucker is still in the league blows my mind. And I don't know if this statistic is true. If he just threw the football into the ground like 1,000 times, he'd have a better passer rating than he currently does. I don't know if that's true, but in my heart of hearts, I want that to be so true that if he just threw the football into the ground 1,000 times, he'd have a better passer rating at the end of it than he currently has.
As long as nobody from the other team caught it.
That's how you do that. Somebody tells it to you and you just accept it and then tell everyone you know forever.
Exactly. And that's what
I'm doing. Somebody's
that's
not true.
That's how all statistics and math algorithms work.
Hey,
don't fact check.
I'm right. I'm right until I'm wrong.
Exactly.
That's in the off season, you're not going to be wrong for like months. You can just say whatever you want,
whatever shit you want, and I don't write anything down. So what are you going to go back and watch 6 months of shows? Yeah, prove it, idiots. Gators here got here just in time for the Jeffy D
for the dump truck talk.
Good old Hefe. We love a good dump truck talk. All right,
we do.
We love a good dump truck talk. Can we get Waste Management to sponsor the dump truck segment, and we can bring
Linda on every week.
Bring Linda on every week just to talk about Jeff Driscoll.
We just talk about Jeff Driscoll.
Jeff Driscoll, Perfect. AJ Dillon could be in the Waste Management dump truck segment.
Linda has to scour practice reports for every mention of Jeff Driscoll's
He's a tight end
name.
now, guys. Like that's the most exciting development is he's actually tight end eligible. So we get that ass with a tight end delegation.
Perfect,
man.
It's what the NFL needed
for that.
Kismet. Absolutely Kismet. What is this fucking show? Okay. I don't know. I would say this is what I get paid to do, but we're just here to literally fuck around. So what is literally, right? When someone pays us, first off,
we'll probably still just fuck around.
I was gonna say, nothing is going to change.
Yeah. First off, awful move on your part if you think anything's changing. Okay, awful move. Just terrible, like nothing.
You can release us and save $26 million.
Ryan, if we're getting paid $26 million,
I'm doing whatever they ask.
Whatever they want. Literally whatever they want. Unbelievable. Okay. We're not even going to break down all these individual players. I'm just going to go with the who starts where because I think that is the most interesting talk. So, Ravens, does anyone think Lamar Jackson is not in Baltimore?
Yeah. I think
the bigger question, if they do end up moving him, where do they move Lamar Jackson to? Because I don't think they're just going to say, all right, we're just not going to sign you. Like, they're going to put the franchise tag on him. They're going to get probably 2 first-round picks in return, if not more. Then the question begs, who pays up to get him?
Atlanta.
The problem with that question is I don't have the energy to think about it because I think that it's going to be Lamar Jackson.
That's fair. Yeah.
Well, the two
Ravens
teams
are going to be dumb to not. They've backed themselves into this corner.
There's an obvious team that is a quarterback away, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And maybe they're not a full quarterback away, but they have the roster built. They have a soft division. That makes a lot of sense to me. The other one is, what if you're a third place team that is tired of seeing the 2 top teams in your division beat up on you, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys? The New York Giants, this might be a situation where almost what happened to Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. Like, sure, we love you, Daniel, but if Lamar Jackson is fucking available, we're going to go get Lamar Jackson and compete against the NFC champions. Like, the Giants make a ton of sense to me to go out and pay up for Lamar Jackson in the current division that they are in and in the fight they're in for their lives.
See, I would argue Washington would be in a better spot to do that because they already have the defensive line in place. They have really good wide receivers. They have a couple of pretty decent running backs.
You said a quarterback away, and I'm not going to lie. My first thought was Lions. So I'm really going to be high on that team next year.
That'd be crazy. Yeah, that'd be a great one. That's true, though. Look at their division. If Aaron Rodgers goes,
that's a division that is very winnable. I mean, you've got to expect some level of regression in close games from Minnesota going into next year.
Hey, 11-1. Don't ask me where the loss came.
I think there's going to be this situation where there's a lot of quarterbacks. If the Ravens are truly listening to offers, there's a lot of quarterbacks whose jobs aren't safe. If you had, before Deshaun Watson became a thing, nobody in Cleveland thought Baker's job wasn't fucking safe, and now he's bounced around to 3 teams in months. Any of these teams, literally just about any of them, could instantly be like, fuck you, we want Lamar Jackson. And that's what makes it such an interesting sweepstakes and such a mistake on Baltimore's part to let it happen. So
I watched this interview. It was on, I think it was Speak for Yourself on FS1, but they brought on, I think his name is Dave Hellman. He covers the Cowboys for Fox Sports. And he was talking about how these teams overthink paying for quarterbacks. Like, look at what Philly did when they went out and they extended Carson Wentz. Obviously, things didn't work out, but they were able to get out of the deal quicker because the salary cap keeps going up. So whatever you sign that quarterback for right now, and he's the highest paid or top 3 paid at his position, within 2 years, he's not anymore. And that contract now becomes a value, and it's easier to then get out of, right? Yeah. So if you're waiting until the last minute to then pay your quarterback, you're fucking yourself at the end of the day.
Well, to be fair, and this has been brought up numerous times, especially in the Lamar Jackson conversation, the Browns fucked everybody with that guarantee.
No, they did,
deal.
because they gave someone they shouldn't have given a fully guaranteed contract.
Yep.
Gator brings up that San Fran trades Lance in a first.
I don't think Baltimore takes that, but
I don't think they do either. But it is a potential thought.
San Fran doesn't have a first.
I was gonna say any first you're getting from San Fran are late first to begin with. So.
Well, okay. Lamar will be most likely a Raven. Giants, Daniel Jones, most likely going to be a New York Giant. Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith, most likely going to be a Seattle Seahawk.
Seattle is the only team I didn't bother putting a second option. I'm like, they're going with Geno. Like, there's not going to be anybody else they go with.
That's
Pete Carroll is a very loyal head coach.
Yeah. And it worked. He proved his shit worked last season. He is not going to let Geno walk. So
Hell no.
Linda, you look sad.
I was gonna say, what's up with that, Linda?
Cause my team got fucked because of it.
That's true.
I'm not having a good time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Pete Carroll's a little move. Good for him.
Well, when you think about it,
a short contract, like 1 to 2 years, and then drafting somebody and bringing a rookie in to start learning that offense is probably like, I think I was talking about that pretty early in the season, but like keep him around for a year, bring a young guy in and see if they can figure it out. Cause like we've talked about Gino's age already and, having some sit down time in between starting when he got drafted and then coming back, the comeback player of the year. He didn't come back from anything, but that's our guy.
That still just baffles me.
He came back from being bad.
Yeah,
that's not what that means. Most improved. That's the words they're looking for.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have that award.
Well, they should.
There you go.
I'm writing a letter.
There you go. The NBA has most improved, but not the NFL. Okay.
And that's why it's superior. Just kidding. I don't watch the NBA.
No, it is. No, it is not superior. It's not
I don't watch
superior.
it.
It's not superior until like the conference finals. Well, actually, it's not even superior then. That's just when the sport's actually good. It's never superior. Just when the sport is good, it's actually like the Eastern and Western Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. That's the only time it's palatable to watch. First real question, because this is literally wide open. The Buccaneers. Tampa Bay loses Tom Brady. Gabbert was there, correct? He's a free agent.
And they still have Kyle Trask whom they drafted 2 years ago.
Yep, they still have Kyle Trask. So, of any of these free agents, who would land in Tampa Bay, Linda?
My notes specifically say just not Kyle Trask. I think it would be hilarious for the storyline for Jimmy Garoppolo to end up there.
Agreed. Ryan?
I don't think any team should go harder for Derek Carr than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Josh?
Derek Carr would make a lot of sense. Obviously, he was linked to the Saints. The Saints were working out a deal with the Raiders. My big thing with the Bucs is they've interviewed 10 different people for that offensive coordinator job and not hired one. I think that says more about the coordinators not really wanting to work for Todd Bowles. Yeah. But to me, this really boils down to who they bring in and if there's some sort of link between a free agent quarterback and somebody that's run that system. Because, I mean, Ryan, you mentioned it. The offense is set. Like, you have two really, really good wide receivers. You have a franchise left tackle. You have pieces there. You just don't have an offensive coordinator that's competent because Byron Leftwich clearly wasn't the guy. Mm-hmm. My notes, I have them rolling it back with Gabbert and potentially bringing in Andy Dalton because I just think that they're just not going to attract a name at offensive coordinator that can bring in a big name. I don't see it. Like, to me, they just need to blow up this ship.
Andy Dalton's hair is not going to match that uniform.
Oh, it would be awful. They'd have to switch back to the creamsicles permanently.
Which, God, I hope they do. God, I hope
love the creamsicles.
One of the best uniforms.
Love the creamsicle jerseys. I don't know. I think I would love to play into the Jimmy Garoppolo narrative that he follows a Brady again. Like I think that's funny. I'll roll with Jimmy Garoppolo. Derek Carr does make sense because he just likes to absolutely pester the ball down the field. And for all you Mike Evans lovers, that would be fantastic for you. Yeah. So, I don't know. The Bucs, it's a very weird because I agree, Josh. They should probably just if they don't, they're just going to be in limbo for 4 years.
You got to if you don't go get Carr out of this class, I feel like you have to blow it up. Like, what's the point?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is a roster that, in terms of the salary cap, is in hell. They've got to move around money because of the continual deferments to bring Brady in to go get that one championship. Yep. Like, I get the idea that, hey, let's go out, let's get the high-priced guy to just make one last run. But they did their one last run. They got that championship. Now it's time to just see what they have. Move some of these high, expensive, paid, veterans. Like, you got killed with injuries. Why is that? Because your team is so fucking old. Like, get rid of these guys. Move on. Go into the season with a Gabbert and a Kyle Trask. See what you have. If you suck, guess what? You probably end up firing Todd Bowles, and then you end up with a top pick in a class that has better quarterback prospects.
And they have three really good pieces on defense at every level. Joe Tryon, Shoyinka, Devin White, and Antoine Winfield. So you have three really good pieces to build around. You just get rid of everybody else. Oh, no, keep Levante David until he wants to retire. Let that man be a buck his whole career.
Yeah.
Let that man be a buck his whole career. I love Levante David. All right, the Raiders, the aforementioned Derek Carr's team. Where do the Raiders go? Josh McDaniels still the head coach. Devontae Adams still there. I mean, you got plenty of weapons, a terrible head coach, and no offensive line. So, and Damian Harris when he eventually signs with the team. So, who do we think fits that system, Linda?
I don't know what the Raiders do, but guarantee they'll fumble the fuck out of the bag one way or another, and I can't wait to watch.
Ryan.
Common sense says it's Aaron Rodgers or Jimmy G just based on coaching ties. But if you want to see a fumble, let's go bring Matt Ryan in.
Or Marcus Mariota or
look on Joe's face.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan.
Well, I'm just going with Linda's storyline here. Like they would want to.
I mean, give me Nathan Peterman. Like, what are we even discussing? You know how Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world? You don't tell me to want the most entertaining quarterback on earth starting for your team? Dude, run it back.
I was gonna say he was there with Gruden, so
well, I was gonna say we're tying Mariota and Peterman back to the Raiders. So
just win, baby.
Definition of going backwards.
Yeah. Just win, baby, win. Josh.
Conventional wisdom says Rodgers, just based on available salary cap space now that they don't have Derek Carr, they can fit his contract. But so at that point, it just becomes, what do you trade to go get him? They're still pieces away, in my opinion. They're not just a quarterback away, but
their defense is awful.
That's
one of those pieces of the head coach. So
yeah,
going to be a little
really is a big problem. So
and literally everyone on their defense, not named Max Crosby, is. Also, Divine Diablo also.
I was going to say they had that linebacker who stepped up this year.
Divine Diablo last year was fantastic till he got hurt. But Max, you could, if you wanted to make an argument, he's not in my opinion. But if you wanted to make an argument and tell me Max Crosby is the most dominant pass rusher in the NFL, I would let you have that argument.
I feel like he certainly was for the first half of last year. Like no questions asked. So.
I think if you wanted to say he's the most disruptive, I'd probably agree with you. Yeah. He's just absurd, absolute madman. Everyone
else. The two
else,
options with the Raiders are Rodgers and Jimmy G, and I think those are really the only two for them. Because
and Jarrett Stidham,
Josh McDaniels is not going to get a rookie quarterback. It's not going to.
Or let's throw a giant wrench here. They trade for Mac Jones to get him off our fucking ass.
That could be interesting, though.
Drew Lock.
No, and we signed Mike White.
That could be a very interesting play if they do.
You imagine? There's no way.
And go
There's no way. Josh, it's the sensible thing to do. Why would Bill Belichick do that? Why would he do that? Right? No.
Honestly, that offense looked better with Bailey Zapp at quarterback.
Oh my goodness!
They're going to have a different offensive coordinator this
year.
Yeah, Linda, they let him throw the ball because they know he can.
No, because there is no, like, if he fucks up royally, nobody can be like,
listen.
Yeah, there's no consequences.
Listen, the Western Kentucky Hilltopper.
We're going to disagree on this until I'm fucking red in the face, dude.
No, the SEC, the leader, the most passing touchdowns in college football history. Give it to the man. Give it to him. I agree with you that I'm interested to see how he does under Bill O'Brien. If he can't work under Bill O'Brien and they don't let him throw the football, sorry, you don't trust your quarterback. You need to get rid of him.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
And you're coming up on the time to get rid of him. So yes. I mean, it all works.
Linda,
out.
I agree with you. They literally gave him like baby play calls. They did not let him throw the football.
Quarterbacks openly being like, "What the fuck" on camera. That's not a great look. Josh, break the news, bro. You can't just type it in the chat.
Breaking news. Dun, 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 dun.
I say that so that way Joe can actually kick it to me and be a
okay.
host,
Can I kick it to you officially?
But thank you, Linda.
And now we have breaking news. Over to Josh Hudson with sports.
Mike Garofalo just tweeted, the Buccaneers are hiring Seahawks quarterback coach Dave Canales as their new offensive coordinator. He spent the last 13 seasons as an assistant with Pete Carroll's coaching staff.
So Drew Lock Bucks. Got
Drew
it.
Lock.
Drew Lock to the Bucks.
Or maybe they make a run at Geno.
Now they make their run at Geno. Say, fuck you, Pete Carroll.
Okay, interesting. I mean, hey, much easier division for Geno to win.
Facts.
Much easier for Geno to win.
Wait, maybe they trade for Russell Wilson.
No fucking shot. They trade for don't even get Linda excited about that thought. You just brought on a whole wave of depression right there.
I will say the face Linda made, that almost made me feel bad. Like I don't ever actually want to make.
But it was worth
bad,
it though.
That was a bad one. I'm sorry.
You should.
I do. I genuinely apologize.
That was hilarious. For the Raiders, I do think it is probably Jimmy Garoppolo and Jarrett Stidham as his backup. So the Jets. I don't think it's Zach Wilson. I think if they're smart, they bring back Mike White. I think if they're smart, he knows the system, he knows the offense. I think they bring back Mike White.
They're bringing a different system though, because they've hired Hackett.
Okay, well then get Aaron Rodgers because he's the only reason that Nathaniel Hackett's relevant. Okay, if not, you'll be last in the fucking AFC East again. So Linda.
I think the Jets pull off what the Broncos tried to do last season by bringing in Hackett and landing Aaron Rodgers. Wow. After his darkness retreat, he's going to be like, clearly we belong together. Fucking weirdo.
Very, very strange, man. Ryan.
I struggled with this one. I ended up sending Jimmy G there just because I have the Raiders landing Aaron Rodgers. So,
dude, let us beat down on Garoppolo twice a year. Are you kidding me? Ryan, yes, please, please, God, let Jimmy Garoppolo go to New York so we can curb stomp him twice a season. Josh.
Yeah, I put Jimmy G there too.
Oh my goodness, it's happening.
I did.
Yes. Right on the beer pong table.
I think.
Put it in the script.
I think when you're looking at the Raiders, you're looking at the Jets. These two teams are going to be 1 and 2 in the race for Rodgers, right? They're two teams that either have the cap space or a roster that is ready to rock and roll. The Jets fucking hit a goddamn home run in last year's draft, getting the offensive player of the year, rookie offensive player of the year, and the defensive rookie of the year. Like,
hey, for the record,
I mean, honestly, and they would have had it either way if Breece Hall stayed healthy.
I was going to say they would have had 1-2 in the offensive rookie of the year if Breece Hall stayed healthy.
Yeah, 100%. Like, that offense is ready to go. I don't know how much I trust Nathaniel Hackett one way or the other, but Rodgers makes the most sense. Now, Hackett, his offense will sort of derive from this LaFleur system, which derives from the Shanahan system, which Jimmy G knows. So there's definitely a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon going on there. But so I feel like that, people are going to kind of assume that if you're in on Rodgers, well, if you miss on him, then you're going to go get Derek Carr. I don't think Derek Carr wants to be somebody's bridesmaid. Like, I think he wants a team that wants him because he's, tired of being left for dead over all these years with the Raiders, that, his ego needs that stroke. And that's why I don't think he lands with New York and the Jets. And so I think that Jimmy G will make a logical bridesmaid in this case, especially being familiar with that division. So
I'm going to pull out a few teams here just because we're running up on time, just for fantasy relevance.
I want to ask a question real quick, and we'll start with Linda and go around. Who do you guys think Rodgers would rather play for? And obviously there's the Adams factor, but just looking at the rosters and the coaching, where do you think Rodgers would want to go between those two teams? I think that's interesting because one is young and ready to pop.
I think Rodgers craves massive attention, and that attention is going to come far more from bringing the Jets to relevancy than keeping the Raiders relevant. And at the end of the day, I think that's what he wants to be I think he's got some hero mentality in him a little bit, and maybe that comes when you win 2 MVP awards back to back. But I think he's more likely to get that playing for the Jets. And it's not like the Jets are lacking weapons by any means. So I don't know. I don't to do as much to make the Raiders relevant. Whereas if he brought the Jets up, it would get far more
for his ego.
Yeah.
Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, to me, it would definitely be the Jets. I think all the reports that were coming out that Derek Carr was, feeling a little butthurt about how Josh McDaniels handles these, like, the recap meetings where he calls out people because of the mistakes and this and that. Like, you can't bring in an Aaron Rodgers
and coach like that.
Exactly. It's not going to mesh well. So I actually kind of want to switch my answers now and say the Jets go with Rodgers and the Raiders end up falling with Jimmy G. Because but at the end of the day, who's going to make the best offer to Green Bay? And are they going to do right by Rodgers or do right by the Packers?
Yeah, that's
going to be the interesting side of it, because really the Raiders' appeal is Rodgers gets to go play with Devontae Adams again. And clearly he missed them last year. So
what's the easier road to winning the division, through Josh Allen and the Bills?
That's a really good point.
Or Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So
one of them is not the Super Bowl champion. So
one of them is not the Super Bowl champion. And I agree that is the case, but the Bills are regular season warriors. When they choke is in the playoffs.
That's a good point. Yeah. You're going to have a better chance to steal that division from the Chiefs.
Yes. I think you have a better chance of stealing a division from the Chiefs. That is
the
not
right answer for Rodgers is stay in the NFC, where there's 100%. Not near as many good quarterbacks. But that's
100%. The right answer is
they're not doing that though, didn't they?
Exactly. They're not going to want to trade him there.
No, and they're not going to trade him in conference. But in terms of what team is probably better suited to win their division, I don't even think it's close, and it's New York. Their defense is solid. CJ Mosley's getting up there in age, but their linebacker core is
reloaded.
Great.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, they've reloaded. Their second, Sauce Gardner, is ridiculous. Yep. Their secondary is fantastic. So to me, you're just all across the board. New York screams, we are Aaron a quarterback away.
Yep.
All right. I'm officially changing my answer. Jimmy G to the Raiders, Rodgers to the Jets.
It just screams like it. If there's one team on this list, Ravens, Giants, Seahawks, all these, if you had to put one team as we're a quarterback away, the Jets, and you could make a strong argument for the Commanders as well.
It depends on when you say a quarterback away, I'm guessing you're talking championship.
Yes, to contending for a championship.
Because the entire NFC South is a quarterback away from winning the NFC South.
100%. Yes. But yes, to contending for a championship, you look at teams with weapons. Yeah. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, just a couple, and then Commanders. Eli Moore, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, Brian Robinson.
2 young running backs. Yeah.
Yeah. And you look at their defenses, both incredible at rushing the passer, both solid linebacking cores, nothing to write home about, but really good, solid top end of the league top half of the league linebackers. The place they lack the most is the secondary. Outside of Sauce Gardner, like, he just carries that whole fucking secondary. The Commanders are more well-rounded back there. Their safety position is absolutely loaded.
An insane safety position.
Safety position's loaded. But if you were to look at those, like the teams left, the Jets and the Commanders are probably a quarterback away from contending. Ron Rivera is a good head coach. Like, that team last year with his quarterback carousel probably should not have had that good of a record.
No, they shouldn't have.
So he's a fantastic head coach. Get him a viable quarterback. You're talking, and that's the team I want to end on, is the Commanders. Is which of these free agent quarterbacks makes the Commanders a potential thought into legitimacy for playoff contention and going on potentially divisional conference championship? Linda?
I think it's Sam Howell season.
Okay. Ryan?
He's an hour away. Go get Tyler Huntley.
Josh?
I'd much rather ride with Sam Howell than Tyler Huntley.
I think you probably keep Sam Howell. I truly do think if you are going to go after a free agent, I think Mike White after Derek Carr should probably be the second most sought after free agent in this class.
I think Mike White and Taylor Heineke are very much the same level of player.
I agree.
I also think, as much as I love Ron Rivera and I truly think he's a great coach, I think you waited too long to see what you had with Sam Howell. And so now we don't have enough information. They need to find out what they have with him because he showed enough to prove that.
To give you a reason.
Yeah, right.
Well, so that's the whole thing with Heineke. He's good enough to help you win games, but he's not going to take you over the top.
So are we all bought into the go into next year planning as Sam Howell? Because look, if he fails, guess what? You're in a position to finally get that young quarterback because they've tried this retread experiment with these veterans. It's not working. So if you go and get a Mike White, you go and get a Derek Carr, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same shit and expecting the same results. They cannot go get a veteran.
They can't do that.
No, the Panthers got to stop that shit too.
Exactly.
Yeah, so exactly. I think again to back up a guy like Sam Howell, and maybe a guy like Teddy Bridgewater who can mentor him, and just again, if you need a guy to come in because Howell's hurt, you just know what you're getting with Teddy Bridgewater. So just guys back up. Yes, I do think Sam Howell is probably the guy that.
See, I think they end up keeping Taylor Heineke around personally, but
probably.
I just think Rivera,
and I think they should. I think he's clearly like a locker room guy.
Loves him.
Fucking
huge
love
locker room guy.
Well, if you're gonna go Sam Howell, I think you have to just ride with Heineke at that point. There's one more team I want to throw out there because with their new offensive coordinator, it brings a big smile to my face that I believe Gardner Minshew is going to have a chance to prove himself with the Indianapolis Colts.
I can see that.
Shane Steichen's been in Philly for 2 years.
They signed him
Gardner
as sort of
Minshew's
like a veteran bridge. Maybe they either stick at 4, draft a quarterback, or make the move to try to move up to get a Bryce. I mean, Jim Irsay name drop Bryce Young as somebody that he likes in the conference. So
they're going to do their damnedest to trade up. But do they believe? I mean, they obviously did it with Manning, where you play the first overall guy. They did the same thing with Luck. So,
all right,
I like it.
That's all,
I think
folks.
Derek Carr ends up with the Saints. I just want to throw that out there. They're the ones that they zeroed in on him. They said, and I think that Carr is going to see that, and he's like, oh wow, somebody actually wants me. Okay, cool. I'm in.
I have one more I want to throw at you guys. Is Jordan Love taking over for Aaron Rodgers, or does somebody else go there?
No,
has to.
Jordan Love season.
I have Jordan Love.
Okay. I just have to throw it out because it was in my notes and I liked it. I would not mind seeing Baker Mayfield in Houston.
I think, since we're just going over notes, I got a rookie in Texas and a rookie for the Colts. I think Jordan Love stays with the Packers, and then Panthers would be smart to re-sign Sam Darnold.
I want to agree. I have rookies going to Texans and the Colts. For a bridge quarterback, I think Mayfield could do some interesting stuff there. So.
Yeah, I have Darnold and a rookie in Carolina. I've got a rookie in Indy. I actually put Jacoby Brissett in Houston.
Makes even more sense. So
I would be fine with that.
All right, now you can end the show.
Yeah, I love Brissett.
We were not done talking, but
that's fine by me. I am merely here to host. Big thank you, Linda, as always. Appreciate you. Go Cowboys. Go Pokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned that when I was in Dallas because somebody was an Oklahoma State grad and she did this and I was like, what the fuck is that? She told me what it was. And I was like, okay, cool. Sounds good.
You deployed it perfectly.
Hey.
We love to see it.
That's a big Oklahoma State fan right here. And then when I'm around another crowd, giant SMU fan. So, just pick your poison, any of those little teams right there. Next week, we're continuing this, obviously, just a different position, running back position. Britt Flynn from Lightning Round Fantasy Alarm, and the co-host of Herstory in the Making will be joining us. Very excited to have Britt back on the show. Mock It Like It's Hot, back in a few weeks to take the Monday 11 a.m. Eastern slot. Who's Your Caddy every Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern, which is some golf DFS. So for you degenerates out there that need another sport to gamble on because football season's done.
I actually set a couple golf DFS lineups because I get the show sheet for that show literally every week. I'm like, all right, let's have some fun. Maybe I can make some money off this.
And they're pretty good with it too.
They are, yeah.
Pretty good with it. Herstory in the making this Tuesday, so this coming Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. with Britt Flynn. Maddie Kroll from Heavy Sports will be joining her. All right. For Josh, Ryan, Linda, myself, this has been No Pun Intended. You can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. There's a code on the bottom of the screen. You should definitely, maybe 100% use it. Club Fantasy 20% off for free shipping at manscaped.com. We will see you next week.